The truth about being a better husband. No one talks about this. When I was younger, I thought being a good husband meant paying the bills, working hard, and just keeping everything together. I thought my family needed me to be strong all the time. What I didn't realize at the time was that being strong also means being vulnerable, means being present. It means being honest with yourself and with them. Truth is, I wasn't always a great husband. I admit that now. I made mistakes, I let pride get in the way, and sometimes I put success ahead of my family. You know, the lessons that I learned from my first marriage, I was married to Monique for 25 years, and God love her for putting up with me. We got married, I was very young, 20 years of age at the time, and we were married for 25 years, and I learned a lot over those 25 years, and I want to thank her for those lessons because it has made me a better husband to Monica, my current wife, and she is truly getting the best pieces of me. I'm still a work in progress. I still slip sometimes. I'm still working on things and on myself, but she's definitely getting a better version of me than Monique did. So, you know, it's one of those things, again, these misconceptions about how to be a good husband, and you know, just going out and paying the bills and going out and working hard for a living and getting that paycheck and coming home and being absent and not being there for your kids and not showing up and so on and so forth. That's not being a good husband. And I only realized that after the fact. I put success ahead of everything. I was obsessed with making money. I was obsessed with building my businesses. I was obsessed with growing my companies. And it was at the expense of my family. And thank goodness that, you know, Monique has a lot of patience, or had a lot of patience. And, you know, when I look at my girls now, you know, they're entrepreneurs, and they watched, and Monique was an entrepreneur too. So she did understand exactly what I was trying to do for the family. And she never, you know, there wasn't any grudges or anything like that. She never was really mad about it. We just slowly grew apart because of it, and because of a lot of other reasons, a lot of other things. And again, those lessons that I grew through, grow through what you go through. And I went through a lot of things, and we went through a lot of things together, and we grew together as a couple, but eventually we grew apart. And, you know, we cared so much for each other that we let each other go. And because the love that we had changed, and we wanted each other to be happier. And again, those lessons that I learned from her and through that experience make me a better husband today. If you want to be a better husband, I want to share what I've learned so that you don't have to go through and make the same mistakes that I did. I used to think that providing was all that mattered. I worked hard, I worked long hours, and you know, I helped pay the bills, and I thought that was enough. I thought that being a successful entrepreneur was going to be enough for my family. But what I realize now is what they got was really the rest of me. I left it all, you know, in the gym and in the business and growing the company. I left it all there, and they got the rest of me, not the best of me. And your family deserves the best version of you. You know, things like I missed conversations that mattered, and I didn't listen like I should have. And when things got tough, and they got tough, we went through a lot of struggles together, and we handled them well in the beginning, but I think over time, I didn't handle them as well as I could have, and as well as I handle things today. And again, I'm still working on some things, still dealing with some new things. Being a stepdad is very new, and dealing with, you know, the ex-husband has really been a struggle for me, because I have such a great relationship with my ex-wife, and my current wife and my ex-wife are best friends. And so that's how I painted that picture, and that's how I wanted, you know, my new relationship and my new family to be. But it's just that's not a normal thing. I know it's not normal to be, you know, best friends with your ex-wife and have your wife and her be best friends. But, you know, the truth of the matter is there's a lot of divorces that happen, and you as the new husband, if you're going through that, and stepdad, if you're going through that, it can be a challenge, especially when you have a challenging ex, to say the least. So one of the lessons that I learned was, things really started to change in my ability to be a good husband when I stopped trying to win. I was a competitive athlete my entire life in martial arts and bodybuilding and all kinds of different things. And, I grew up wanting to win, and that was what I was focused on. And in business, I wanted to win. I wanted to be bigger. I wanted to be better. I wanted to focus on that. But I wasn't winning at my marriage. I wasn't winning at life. And that was one of the big lessons for me. And with my new wife, and the lesson there is I'm not trying to win. And what's great is our communication skills are probably our strongest asset. It's the strength. The fact that when we have a disagreement, one of us is not trying to win the argument. We're a team, we're one, and we're trying to come up with a solution. And I'm not trying to win. I'm not trying to beat her. I'm trying to come up with a solution that's a win-win for both of us. But at the end of the day, I don't care if I lose. Nobody wins an argument. And so communicating with your spouse openly and regularly, and not trying to win, not having to win. It's okay to say, you know what, I was wrong. And you're right. And trust me when I tell you, my wife is right a lot more than I am. So that was one of those things that I had to learn. And again, I think that's a maturity thing. And as we get a little bit older, it's not about the win. It's not about winning an argument, because as I said, nobody wins an argument. It's about having a discussion, keeping it calm, and trying to come up with a solution that's best for everybody. That's the win. But here are 3 things that I learned that really made a big difference right out of the gate. Listening is true love in action. You don't have to fix everything. Just listen. Sometimes that's all your wife wants. Sometimes that's all your spouse wants, is for you to just listen. You might, and don't listen to reply. Don't listen to come up with an answer, to one up. Just listen. Sometimes that's all they need. Sometimes that's all they need, is just to be heard. Just hear them. Number 2, presence is more powerful than presence. In other words, presence, being present, is more important than gifts. You can buy flowers, you can plan trips, you can do all kinds of great things and spend money, but none of that matters if you're not present when you're there, when you're with her. Be present. Be in the moment. Embrace the moments, and just be so grateful that you've got somebody that loves you unconditionally. Number 3, ego kills connection. There is no room for ego in a real relationship. There's no room for ego if you want to be the best husband you can possibly be. The moment you start trying to prove your worth, the love connection is broken. Let go of being right. Choose being close. And over time, I started to rebuild myself, which in turn helped build this relationship, this marriage. It's just such a strong bond that my wife and I have right now. I had to learn how to show up differently. Here's what helped me rebuild, and here's what helped me reconnect. Daily check-ins. Just ask the question, how are you doing today? How are you really doing today? And then listen. Small gestures mean a lot. Those little love notes, the little touches, the little glances, the smiles. It's not always about, the finish line. Those little caresses, a hug can go a long way. Those small gestures mean a lot. Trust me when I tell you that they mean everything. Apologies that mean something. Don't just say I'm sorry to say I'm sorry to end the discussion, to end the argument. Say sorry and truly mean it. I say I'm sorry pretty much every single day, and I mean it. When I mess up, one of the things that I've noticed as I get a little bit older, and my birthday's in 2 days, literally in 2 days. I hope I get more hoodies. I'm the hoodie guy. I realize that too. I'm the hoodie guy. It's weird. But what I realized as I got a little bit older is that being self-aware is a true gift. And there's a lot of men my age, 55, going to be 56. There's a lot of men my age. There's a lot of men in their 40s, a lot of men in their 60s who are not self-aware. They don't realize who they truly are. And I am very self-aware. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm horrible at. And I'm okay to say I'm sorry. I'm okay to admit when I'm wrong, because trust me, I'm wrong a lot. And it actually feels better to admit when I'm wrong. It actually does. If I mess up, I want someone to let me know so I can be better. Again, this is about being the best version of you. It's about being the best man you could possibly be. It's about being the best husband you can possibly be. And trust me when I tell you, you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect. We're all works in progress. But admitting you're wrong when you're wrong, and even if you think you're right, and even if you know you're right, just say I'm sorry and just move on. Just take it on the chin. It's okay. It doesn't mean you're less of a man because you admit that you're wrong. It doesn't mean you're less of a man if you apologize. It doesn't mean you're less of a man if you just listen and don't have to be right all the time. And shared growth. Learn together, grow together, and build a life together. Remember, you're a team. My wife's my best friend. Bar none. There's no one even close. There's not even a close second. Maybe my daughters, maybe my son. But she's my best friend. Beyond anyone, I would rather do everything and everything I do, I want to do with her. In fact, when I'm doing stuff that without her, I feel guilty. I'm going away this weekend for work, going to Dallas, and I want her to be there with me. I'm going to the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, AT&T. I'm going there. My brother's favorite team of all time was the Dallas Cowboys. And as you may have, I don't know if I talked about this or not, but my brother passed away when he was 23. And his favorite team of all time was the Dallas Cowboys. And he never got to see the Dallas Cowboys, he never got to visit the stadium, obviously. And I'm going there. And it's kind of like I get to check off a dream for him. And I can't wait to do that. But you know what? You know what would make it even better? Yes, I'm feeling great about going there and being able to check that box off and stand on the star in the middle of the stadium and get a picture of that. That's going to be fantastic. But what would make it even better is if my best friend was there with me to share that experience. My best friend, my wife. And I know those things might seem simple, but those are the things that grow a strong bond in a relationship for years and years and years to come. Don't overlook those things. Don't minimize those small things. Those small things add up to big, incredible relationships. You know, when I stopped trying to fix everything in the relationship and I started to listen and I started to connect more and I started to be there and be present, it was incredible how strong and how fast our bond grew. So what makes a strong husband? Well, you know what? A strong husband isn't perfect, and stop trying to be perfect. You're flawed. She's flawed. We're all flawed. It's okay. But it's accepting that you're flawed and working on it. That's where true strength comes in. But you're not perfect. Stop trying to be perfect. A strong husband is consistent. A strong husband is honest. And a strong husband knows that they're a work in progress, but it's work, and it takes work every single day to become the best version of you, to become the best husband you can possibly be. Here's what I believe makes a really strong husband. He leads through service, not control. He listens more than he talks. He invests in his health because his family depends on his energy. He protects peace, not pride. My wife always tells me, you'll be known by your heart. You'll be known by your love. You'll be known by your peace, not pride. And he admits when he's wrong, and he does better. That's what makes a strong husband, in my opinion. And last but not least, he chooses love, even when it's hard. Always choose love. Love over everything. If you're watching this and you know you can be better, start today. Follow the tips that I outlined. Be the best version of you can possibly be, not just for you, but for your loved ones, for your wife, for your children. Be that person, be the man, be the husband, be the father that you're truly meant to be. And remember, you don't have to overhaul everything today. Start with one. Make one change today. Trust me when I tell you, your significant other will notice the change, even if it's small. Listen better, show up more, take care of yourself. Start making those changes today, and it will pay dividends for the rest of your life. Remember, your family doesn't need a superhero. They just need you to be present. They just need you to be there fully. Because when you become a better husband, you don't just change your marriage, you change your life. If this message spoke to you, hit subscribe, join the community. Join me every week as we grow through this together. Master your mind, master your body, master your life. See you in the next one.